Electric company, power company,
Gas company, corner.
gas company, power, public works. How about knowing the building plans for this? Superintendent, if he wasn't in the school, okay? So what size incident would this be for you guys? Probably definitely a large. Remember, a lot of these people are gonna go ahead and self-extricate. Now, one thing about children, and the big thing that you're gonna have to make sure you can control is going to be the general public. Anytime there's children involved, parents hear about it, whether it's the phone tree or Facebook or whatever they're hearing it from, they have a tendency to go directly to the scene. They love to try and find their children and pull their children away and take their child with them. We saw it with the bus accident, which only had 27 children up in northern Illinois a couple springtimes ago. And parents were going to the scene. They would, child, come with me. And that child would go because they knew. But we need to make sure we have counts. The superintendents, the teachers, they're going to know what children were in there at that point in time. So make sure you're setting up a good perimeter. Make sure bystanders can't get anywhere near it. Set up an area for family members if necessary. How long would this, okay, so let's see here. So, type of box alarms called? Life safety? You guys are going to know better than I am on what your box alarms are. How long for these other units to go ahead and arrive, generally? Yeah, I mean, sometimes, depending on how close the neighboring community or what resources you're calling in, they may arrive fairly quickly. Some may take a while. Where, based on the school that you guys just described, where are you going to put all of these incoming vehicles and apparatus and ambulances?
Staging area.
Where would your staging area be?
Depends on the location of the situation, what goes around.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the gym is, but just, so if you got the school that we were just talking about, where would be the best place to stage all of your ambulances?
There's a big parking lot right behind the school.
Okay,
It depends on the incident though.
Yeah, it depends on
That's
if
too
what
close.
if the collapse closed part of the
That might
road
be
or
too
something,
close,
you
so
know,
you
you
have
have
to
Okay.
get away.
something you have to take, depends on where your wind direction's going. Yeah, there's a lot of different factors that you have to take into account here to set up your staging areas. Let's see. Obviously, what type of command would we be establishing? Would you guys open your EOC? Would the hospital, do you think, would open the EOC at their or at our hospital?
No, definitely.
We're going to need to get a lot of resources out to you. If we talk just on the medical side of it, you know, you've got ambulances that are coming in, but you're going to probably need other medical equipment that are going to be sent out to you. How about physicians or nurses coming out to the scene? Might be something that you might need also. Are we able to go ahead and send you that personnel? We're going to have to start our own process at the hospital too, making sure that we have plenty of staff for people that are coming in. And again, remember, a lot of them are going to self-extricate, and we may actually know and start having people coming there before you guys have even alerted us. So obviously we have our standard positions that we have, but we're going to concentrate mainly on the triage, treatment, and transport at this point in time. So setting up an area to start your generalized triage. Bodies are being brought out of this collapsed school. They're brought over to the triage area. They're being initially triaged. From there, they would go to a secondary triage and treatment area. What kind of treatment are they probably going to get there on scene? Depends on what's needed, right? Bleeding control, they may end up having to need fluids. Depends on how quickly these patients are being transported out of there. How many ambulances do I have in staging that can go ahead and take these patients? Some of the other things to consider, utilities. Is the structure actually stable at that point in time? What do we have to do to make it stable to get in there? How do we go ahead and get in there to start finding bodies that may be underneath all the rubble? Okay. Bring in area experts for building engineers. Now, what kind of explosion was this? Could it have been a dirty bomb? Is there a secondary device in there? Was it just a collapse of the building? All pieces of equipment, or all pieces of knowledge that you're going to need to know. Not everybody's going to get one. We're just going to go through. Oh, absolutely. I have a special one for them. And this one's specifically for you. All right, so you've got patients there in front of you. What we're going to do is we're just going to start up here. We'll go through with patient 1 through 13. And initially, based on the top portion, you're going to have your initial triage information. So based off that information, tell me what your initial triage would be. Then the second part is their injuries. The third part would be for their secondary triage. So tell me their initial triage and then secondary. So what kind of patient do you have? Patient number 1. Who's patient number 1?
I have patient number 2.
Yeah. So what's your, read the initial information to us.
Breathe, carotid, radial, responds to painful laceration, bruising the head, slow to react, tracheal deviation to the right, bruising the left side of the chest, breast sounds on the left, no decap, fracture
Okay.
below the
What would you, how would you initially go ahead and triage?
sounds like maybe a red.
Okay, initially, yes, be a red.